Hi guys, welcome to my first normal Flosstube video of 2025. My name is Emily and I'm here to show you my cross stitch. I have got my big winter poncho on because I've come through to the conservatory and it is 14.5 degrees in here. I put the all-fired radiator, which is literally in front of me here on the full length of its plug, on about 2.5 hours ago, and it's 14.5 degrees, so it's a very cold day here up in Cumbria, and yeah, it's beautifully clear. Flora's caught the train to school, Maddie has caught the bus. She's going up to Hadrian's Wall, Vindolanda, which is actually quite a long way from here now. It's about 50 miles from here, very close to where I used to live when the girls were little, before I moved to my old house. And she's going to go and take photos because she's going to do some paintings of Hadrian's Wall things, so we'll keep you updated on those. Okay, so you're not going to believe me, look how organised I am. This is my monthly stitching box basket. This fits under the coffee table so I can fill it up. It's had no cat sleeping in it because it slides under the coffee table, and in here I have got my 11 by 11 Q snaps and my projects for the month. I am up to date in my journal, my legend planner thing, which is stitching. My stitchy pages are coming along. I am getting there. I've got all my stitch counts, I've got my whip go goals, I've got my counts for the individual pieces, and then every day I'm writing in what I'm stitching on and how many stitches I'm doing. So I did actually do my December the 31st stitching, so my weekly goal and the stitches I've done on each piece will be slightly different. First thing I need to show you is my Barbara Anna finish, which is the only thing I haven't currently got. I will be back. So I did put a picture up on Instagram, but I actually got finished on the 1st of January. My little Barbara Anna Christmas is Coming that I started last year. I started in Flossmas 2023 and then restarted it in Flossmas 2024. And it only needed, what did I put into it? I have written my numbers down. 280 stitches and a little bit of back stitch, finished it up. So I went ahead and did that. So there, whoa, when the light adjusts, is Christmas is Coming by Barbara Anna. All finished, done, dusted. It can go on my finished pile, and eventually at some point, sometime, it will get finished in a more, I'm looking for something to put behind this, in a more finished kind of way. But there it is, the little snail, the Santa, all done. The lights cutting in and out. There we go. And it's on a piece of this sage green Zweigart, I think it's 32 count Lugana. So there we go, I had a finish. But this one was very close. Okay, so the other thing, I started on December the 31st, so technically I've had no new starts this year to date. It is the 8th. It is January the 8th. I wanted to get the full 7 days under my belt of my stitching. I did start on the 31st because the pattern was released, the Cross Stitch Studios Mystery Sal. I've got 2/3 of the threads here, and I need to still put on the tags, the other the 3000s, and I shamelessly stole this idea from Stuart and Stitches, who I'm sure we all watch. And he got these, they're keychain tags, you know, for like numbers of rooms for big organisations and things who need lots and lots of separate keys. So he'd got them, and he'd got a whole skein of, this is CXC on, and then I got these cables, and that's actually 2 cables joined together. I'll do the 3000s. I'll put a third cable on for a very big loop. I've got about another 20 or 25 to go up. So I started that, and the first piece is, the first release is the first page. It's good and small, and I have so far put in 781 stitches. So here is what I've stitched so far. So I started in the bottom corner here and picked a colour, and basically I'm colour completing throughout the piece the colour I pick. So here, sorry, I've got some horrid little cuts on my finger. I think I did that at work. I've gone back to work, all my nails have all snapped off. They're all in a terrible state. So I should probably put some polish on them just to protect them a bit. So you just have to not mind my grotty little fingernails. I do work in retail, opening boxes a lot. So I started here and I've just picked colours and I've worked the colours in. This is an edge of hair, and all the background is like shades of blue, grey and green. So I'm really looking forward to it. It already looks pretty good. So these are released, we're going to get a page every 2 weeks. So the 1st and then the 14th. So on the 14th, I'm going to stop stitching on this page and I'm going to start stitching on this page, I think is next. So I'll start stitching on the next page and then we'll be able to see like how much I could get in. It's 4,000 stitches, so I'm not gonna get it completed, I don't think, in any of the months, but it does look jolly good. And then when it's done and I've got all the pieces put together over the 12 months, I might look to finish it next year. But that's the little start, 781 stitches, and I'll try and put some stitches into this today, which would be really good to do. So there we go. The only one of my Whip Go pieces I haven't touched yet is my Emma Congdon You're All Kinds of, I think it's All Kinds of Amazing. I always say wonderful. Yes, it's All Kind of Amazing, which is still all sealed up in its bag. I haven't touched him yet because I'm also, my other Whip Go call on a different number was the finish of Everything is Better with a Little Magic, and they're very, very similar pieces. So rather than stitch them together, I'm going to finish Everything is Better with a Little Magic before I pull and start that. So I'm hoping to get this finished by the middle of the month, and then I can pull out the other one and work on that. So Emma Congdon, Everything is Better with a Little Magic. What I did, because I'm not using my master set for the splatter gun effect that I've been using it for previously, I've pulled from my set all the threads I need, and I found a loose skein of 310. So as I'm finishing them, I'm putting them back in my master set, but so that I'm not ferreting about, they've gone into the bag. So Everything is Better with a Little Magic. I don't have a start point of number. Oh, I do have the numbers. Where's my book from my... Oh, I'm not too sure where the book went that I did my Whip Parade through. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the percentage it was at, 55, 50 something here at my Whip Parade, and then I'll put up a picture of what it looked like in my Whip Parade before I worked on it this year. Now, since I've started working on it, I have put in 1,943 stitches, and I believe we're up over 80%. Again, I haven't checked my percentage. It's one thing I've not done. So I'll put the percentage I'm currently at here. I mean, it doesn't matter. You'll see a massive difference in it. I'm thinking I need something behind this because this is going to be fair on see-through. Let's use my project bag. Another good use for my project bag. Okay, so you can see from my percentage it's getting on. I've done 1,478 stitches into this, and that's where it currently is. So it is getting on. Not quite completely finished here at the bottom. I've got a little bit to finish off this side here, and then there's little bits like this which doesn't have her feet in yet, and there's little bits and bobs I haven't filled in, but that's the start of the ghosty. There's a ghost each side of this castle. Castle is slightly wrong. You can see that the windows are not equally spaced. They aren't equally spaced, but they're not meant to be this unequally spaced. But it's seriously not an issue to me at all. So that's where everything is better with a little magic is currently at, and I'm really hoping that by this time next week it will be finished. If I finish it, I will put a picture up on Instagram, but that's what I'll do. So I'm going to pop that back in its frame. So it's a joy to work on this one. It was really hard going right up until I bought the PDF. As soon as I had the PDF, it was marvellous. Because then into Pattern Keeper it went, and everything was good. Everything is good when we're in Pattern Keeper. So I'm just going to pop him back in his frame. So I'm not going to work on him today because I'm stitching. I've already done quite a bit of today's stitching already today, but I'm not going to count the figures. I'm not going to count the figures and give you numbers for today because today's stitching goes in next week's figures because it's the 8th. So I put my Q-snap back there. So I'm working in this very top section, and then when I get this bit done, I'll sweep up and do all the little last stitches. So I'm really hopeful that that will get done in this coming week. The other thing I picked up and put 208 stitches into was the first of the Mill Hill kits, which was the train depot. So I've just dropped my needle magnet off that because I've got the pattern joined onto it. Got the pattern clipped on. Randomly I've got an X on there. Don't know why I've got an X on there. So I'll put a picture up of where it looked. I'll pull it either from the Flossmas or somewhere because I haven't worked on it since, so fairly straightforward. And this is where it is now. So that's with another 208 stitches. So I'm just working on this one here. And my aim is to get all the crosses in, all the cross stitch in of this one this month. So I've still got all of the building to go here, little bit of the roof and whatever it is that's hanging around here, I think, to go. I've done most of the train. There's not a lot there actually. There's just it's like got a little spare bit of fabric here, but this building is fairly filled in, and there's some more snowy bits that come. Oh, I've done those bits actually. They're not marked off on my chart. Okay, that's fine. So it's really just the inside of the building and the rest of the roof and a little bit here, and then we'll be done on the train depot. And the idea is with my Mill Hill kits, this 2025, each month I'm going to try and get all the cross stitch in so that next year I can do the back stitch and beading in the little scrolly frame that I've got Peaceful Street in currently, but Peaceful Street should get finished. Fingers crossed, Peaceful Street should get finished. And then I'll have the little frame available next year so that I'm not crushing beads in Q-snaps, because these are very, very heavily beaded. They're literally buttons and beads kits. So there we go. So I put some stitching into him, and then we've got one more and then the two big ones. Okay, so my sea beacon, I'm about halfway on my goal with sea beacon. She looked like this in my whip parade, and today she looks like this. So I filled in some more of the 939. I'm slowly filling in the 3809 here, and I've put in this 939 here, and I'm starting to do a little bit more of the side of her, you know, the bit of the front of her hair, the sweep there. So, but I want to get this block filled in, and I want to get at least this little block filled in, if not all of this, in this rotation, in this whip go call. So my goal is 4,000 stitches, and I'm at 1,943, so nearly halfway to meet my goal for whip go. So we're doing all right. We're doing the first two whip go pieces. We're doing all right with. Again, I've got a bag for this one because she can pop away and live in her bag until she's called again, or I stitch on her again. And I've got some of the overspill threads. I do have a box with all the threads kitted up in it. Some of them might have migrated into my master set because I might have needed them. but I have got, obviously I've got all the colours, and I've got all the extras, like loads of 939 extra. Okay, 2 more to go. This is going to be, I'm going to aim to be quite concise and clear with my floss tubes now, just so that I stay on track a bit. I'm going to really try and stay on track this year with my stitching. Then I've got the Better to See You With, which is a cross stitch studio. I think it is actually my second largest piece. I'm going to put the picture up of it finished here, and I'm going to put up the picture of what it looked like in my Whip Parade. Fairly scrappy start. I'm still under 2%. I'm between 1% and 2% here, and I'm still between 1% and 2% because it's just over 500,000 stitches, and it's massive. And I now know how massive it is because since I filmed my Whip Parade, I'm actually going to take it out of the Q-snap, I have almost got to the bottom, and by almost got to the bottom of the pattern and the fabric. And I gave myself, I picked this up yesterday and stitched on, I think I only stitched on it, no, I stitched on it on Monday when I was off work. I like got it out and sorted it out, what I was going to do, fixed in my brain what I was doing, and then I stitched on it before work yesterday. I was on a 210 yesterday, so between 6 in the morning and like 1 o'clock when I leave for work, that's free time for me to do as I choose, really. So obviously I choose stitching. So it's massive. Yeah, I have found, and the clue was the clue was there because look where I started it. I started it with an inch border. Now this was gridded fabric before I washed it. Yeah. Anyway, so I started it with that kind of margin, and I don't know why I didn't think that there would be a similar size margin at the bottom. I'm at the bottom, and this is where I'm gridded to. There's the bottom of the fabric, and I still have, I think that might be 790, and it's 825. So I still think I need to put in 4 grid lines, and that's going to leave me with about an inch. So it absolutely fills the full size of the Zweigart fabric. That's the full width of the bolt. It's massive. And then widthwise, I've got a bit more. I've got like 2.5 inches widthwise, so woohoo. And I'm assuming that eventually, because you can see there is nothing on this fabric. That was my little test piece that I washed to check to see whether it would wash. Of course it washed, and I have a little silly test piece cut out. There's nothing on any of this part of the fabric, hence why I'm still only at 1%. So it was about there. Let me unfold it again. It was about there. So what I did was I gridded. Now I got myself a new grid pen. I gave up looking for it. I have got 2 in this room. I will find them. I will use them when I find them. I now have 3 of these pens, and normally they're absolutely brilliant. But this is 20 count, and it has been washed at 60 degrees. So it's got that funny kind of lumpy texture that Ada, can you actually see it's almost textural, that this Ada gets when it's washed very hot. The stitching looks lovely on it, and it will obviously go through the washing machine again when it's finished, and then it will get stretched professionally. Well, I don't know if he can manage to stretch something 1 metre long professionally. I'm sure he can. This is he being the man at my mum's framing shop. He seems to cope pretty well with enormous pieces of stitching. But the pen was, although it's got a very fine point, it was like, it was collecting on the sides of the fabric weft. Yeah, it was collecting on the sides. The one I was trying to draw down, it was collecting on the sides, making a very thick, blurry line, as you can clearly see here. I gridded that much and I went, no, I don't like this. It's awful. It looks ghastly. So I got out my filament. So quite a lot of on Monday the 6th was spent gridding. And I actually put my weekly goal, because my legend planner's got like 2 sections. It's got my stitchy section, and then it's got a life section. So my first week of my life, the life section's in weeks, and I didn't fill a lot of that in. I filled in every day. I put little comments in every day, what I worked, what I did other than working. There's a little tracker, so I'm checking off which of my projects I've stitched on for the day. And then there's a personal to-do list, which I'm actually using as a no spend day, but I've just sorted out. I've done a week and a half of trying not to spend too much money, and now I've sorted that out. And then there was like goals and to-do lists and notes and all that, and none of that's filled in for the first week. For the second week, I've filled it in. I've got a goal. So my goal for this week is to grid up the Better to See You with to the bottom middle. I'm not gridding the entire piece of fabric today. I'm gridding enough to keep to where I need to be. And then there's a load of other life things in there, which is fine. So some of it. So I'm leaving. I'm going to explain all this now. You see all the filaments all just hanging. What I'll do when I sit down and I've got half a mind, I will stitch all of these in. So it will be fairly comprehensively gridded, but as you can see, I've stitched in some of them. I did lengths about this long and was like, that'll do for now. And where my Q-snap was, I gridded just where I was needing to stitch, and then I stitched down, and then I moved the Q-snap, and sometimes I stitched in each side the length, and sometimes I didn't. And I moved it down so I could stitch the next bit, because I was heading for red, and she is right in the middle, not quite at the bottom. She's about this far off the bottom. There's some ground in front of her. So, long story short, and explaining these grid lines, so you can see from where I gave up with the blobby pen, I need to stitch in these up the way, and then I've got some grid there, and it's in gridded where I've stitched, and then those ones, you see, I've taken them the full length that I had, and they're right to the edge. So they're good, they go right to the edge. And then these ones here are loose top. And then I've got a couple here that are still needing stitching in. I stitched in quite a few of them, but I left a couple. I obviously got bored. And then I stitched on down, stitching on down, stitching on down to the next big chunk, and there is red. And I've got another big pile that this morning I've gridded the bit where red is. So I need to carry these up. So I've got some going both ways there that I need to stitch in. So I'll do that, but not right now, this second. I will do it. And then I've got a big pile here that need to be stitched in that way. So by and by, it will all be gridded. And if I get to a point there, like there, where my filament runs out, but it still needs to be gridded right across there, all the way across there, I'll do that when I get to it. I can either pull it out and reuse it. More likely it's going to be cross country, so I'll just need to add another piece, and I will just add another piece in. I'll just go in the hole that one comes out of, and I'll just carry on and snip that short. And if it falls out, it falls. You know, if it starts unraveling, it unravels. It's enough for me to be able to find my place, is what I'm saying. So I stitched all the way down, and then I got to the bottom here, and then it started to sort of curve. Oh my goodness, let me fold this up. This is ridiculous. I'm just showing you a bed sheet. Just showing you a bed sheet. Right. There. This is better. So as I came down here, it started to curve around there, and I thought, right, that's the ground at the bottom. Red must be close. So I found her. The colour I wanted to use, because it literally is like the outline of her cape, was 815. I cannot find a skein of 815. I have either used it all up, it's random, lost somewhere, because all my DMC is in that bag, my spares box, my extras, which are like from kitted projects, or in my master set. I can't find 815. So I will buy myself one new 815. which is my deal with threads this year. If I cannot find it, or I use up literally my only skein, I can buy myself another one. And I will be buying it from Hobbycraft, and it will be £1.50, but unless they've gone up. But hey ho, it's one skein. So there's the start of red in 817, which is much, much brighter. But I wanted to do the outline of her, and she is probably going to be, let's refold this. She's probably going to be about this tall, I think. I need to stitch, obviously, that's what I mean. I need to stitch all of that's better. I need to stitch all of those into the fabric, my gridding into the fabric, and these little leftover twiddly bits on the edge. That's just where my Q-snap was. You can see where I've stopped them, and I've stopped them because that's the edge of my Q-snap. But these ones, no, these ones need to be stitched. I'll take them right the way to my edge line. I've got a line of pink along the edge. Take them right the way to my side, and then stitch them as much as I can that way. So get as much of it gridded in as I can, but not the whole bed sheet in one go. So there's the start of red. So I'm really happy with my progress. Right, I'm not going to put that back in the Q-snap because I'm going to stitch in, so they're really annoying me, all the thready bits there, the filament. I'll stitch them in before I carry on with her. So I've put in stitches this morning, but till yesterday I'd put in 1,478 of my goal, which is 4,500. So it's going to get 9,000 stitches this year, which is great. 4.5 of them this month, and then 4.5 of them another month, which is lovely. So I've still got 3,000 stitches to put into her, and I think this morning I've done maybe 300 because I put in a length of the 610, which is this darker brown here, and I've put in 2 lengths, or a length and the scrap that was on my bobbin of this one here. So when I've stitched in some of these filaments, I will carry on with this red and maybe try and get about 500 stitches today. We'll see how my time pans out. 9:45 now. I need to leave at about 11:10. I'm on a 12:10 today and a 12:10 tomorrow at work. So that's great. The only other thing I have stitched on, and I have indeed stitched on it every day, this is my goal for this year, is not to be too pedantic about the quantity I'm stitching on the treasure hunt bookshelf. I'm going for consistency. So I'm stitching on it every day. And every day I'm doing, well, 1 strand yesterday because I did it when I got in from work and I was tired. I've already put probably 3 strands into it today, so it's had a bit of a better chunk. And I put my Q-snap with the fox just peeking out. So we're fair on in the middle. I've completely moved. I've moved away from Cinderella. I was totally burnt out stitching down there, so I've moved. And what I have found is a load of green. So I picked up here under the fox and stitched in this green. And then I found a load of black, and there is a lot of black here. I can, if I'm really super tired, I can pull a strand of black. These are ready for fill-in with black. So there's a good 200 at least stitches there. I can just fill in with black. Probably 300 actually, if I look at it. And then I found good old 823, which is what I was trying to colour complete on the piece when I got stopped with dropping my biscuit on Cinderella, under Cinderella. But I was trying to colour complete the 823. So I've picked up the 823 and I've stitched in all the stitches of 823, which have brought me down. This is all, is that black or is that 823? I think all this is black, and I think the 823 is this bit. Anyway, I've stitched in all the random stitches there of that. So I'm going to see what's in, I'm going down, I'm going to see what's in this section down. I think we're picking up a book spine here. I think this is the start of a book spine there. And then we've got the edge of the shelf with this greenery kind of dropping over the top of the shelf. And I think this is the dark space between the books, like at the back of the bookshelf between the books. So there'll be another book spine somewhere here, I think. But then this here looks like it could be the edge of another something interesting. We'll see how it goes. So far this year, much smaller total on Treasure Hunt Bookshelf than I'd normally be punting for. I've put in 895 stitches in a week. So that's, if I carry on at about this pace, it's going to be about 4,000 stitches. Considering I'm 2 months behind, it's not going to be, I'm not going to do 14,000 stitches and catch myself up anytime soon. So I'm just going to stitch on it every single day. Still very much my everyday piece, just not the frenetic 7,221 stitches a month. So I'm very happy with the way I'm going on with my planner. That's pleasing me that I'm keeping up with that. And my total stitches for the week, I should have been a little bit more careful with, 7,988. I really should have looked at that before yesterday and put in the extra to bring it up to 8,000. So if I'm going to be stitching, I think I'm about on track with that, because it's going to come out at about 30,000 stitches a month when there's 4 months, so that's 8, 16, that's 32,000. So if I'm stitching at about this pace, and I don't feel like I've had to push myself to stitch this week at all, I've got quite a normal week. It's only 38 hours work this week, but I have got the 3 10-hour shifts, which gives me 3 days off. I would have preferred the 5th shift because money. Anyway, that's a stumbling block with the balance is I get more time to stitch, and the offset is less hours at work, less money. So yeah, anyway, my goals for this week include getting all my horrid figures. See, it's already the 8th and I have not yet got all the horrid figures together for my credit cards, which is obviously something I'm not going to share on here because that is my problem to deal with. But that is on my list of things to do this week. And what I've decided to do for money wise, because I just tend to just tip out and just spend. I need to be really mindful this year, really mindful and very careful with what I buy. I'm not going to say I can't buy anything. I can buy whatever I need. Food, fuel. Don't buy clothes very often. Occasionally the kids need things. Toiletries, things like that. Occasionally need them. Girls mostly buy their own now. I will be taking Lizzie back to university at the back end of this month, which is 2 full tanks of fuel, and I will do her a very big supermarket shop. I'm staying overnight, so we'll have to eat. So I'll be spending then. Fair dues. Nothing like that. I'm not going to restrict anything like that. I'm not going to restrict it full stop, but I'm going to be mindful. And to that end, I've taken out cash today, which is going to be like my everyday bits and bobs spending. We're going to use cash, just not very much, but it's to last me the rest of the month. And instead of using my day-to-day current account for everything, I've transferred some money, and it was eBay money, so thank you very much for those of you who bought some of my bags. Very much appreciated. This is what I use it for, just keeping us alive in the month, because most of my salary is budgeted out already. Basically, I need to make extra to have little nice things. Not nice things, I don't buy a lot of anything really, but food, fuel for my car, that sort of thing. Anyway, so I moved some of that to my Etsy account. I had a separate bank account that my Etsy money paid into, and it's also linked to my PayPal from my Needle Minder of the Month. So I've drawn some money from my Needle Minder of the Month account, and I've drawn some money from my eBay, and I've put that in that card. So when I go out, I'm only taking that bank card with me and the cash. So it has to fall into that remit. And then I've got my Tesco Club card, my Nectar card, and my Morrison's card, because if I go to any of the big supermarkets and you use the card, you get some discounts. So I've got them with me too, but they're just loyalty cards, and my driving license. So I'm going to make myself a little card holder. Dig my sewing machine out. Make myself a little card holder, put it put it on one of these and clip it to my car keys so that I've got my bank card that I'm going to use for spends. I've got my cash, I've got my driving licence, because you've got to have your ID with you. I mean, in the UK you don't legally have to have your ID with you, but I always have my ID with me. And that's going to sort me for the month, and I'm going to try and not dip back in anywhere else. So I think that's a good solution going forwards, and we'll see how it works. This is all going to evolve. I mean, it's taken me 8 days to even work my brain into actually sorting it out. So that's where I think I'm going to be, and I might need more. I might be okay. I might need more. We'll see how we get along. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm up to date with all my posting. I've got three of my eBay orders have gone international tracked and signed, so they're not marked dispatched yet, except they are 2 days. They're 2 days into on their way, because I need to just put the tracking. I need to put the tracking in. So when I've done that, I'll be completely up to date. My other job for this week is to post out my Flossmas prizes, which I have not done yet, but I will be posting them this week. I'm off on Friday. I'm going to try and get them all into the post on Friday. So if you're one of the 12 people who won something from me in Flossmas, I've not forgotten. I've still got everything. I think I've got everybody's details. I just need to go through the mechanical process of putting the item in the envelope, putting your address on it, doing a custom sticker if it needs it, and then physically taking it to the post office. So that's on my check off box in my life section for this week. So that's my other thing. I think that's what I was going to tell you, and then went on a ramble as per. So that's on my list to do this week as well. So I'll get that out hopefully by Friday, and then I'm going to, because I've got Friday off and Sunday off, I'm going to start trucking through the stuff in the conservatory, because now we've had a move around. The furniture's been moved so that there's more of a seating area, and then the other side of the sofa is my sewing machine table and my dad's big table, and then it's full of stuff. So I'm going to start sorting that, and the first thing I'm going to try and collate together is all my Etsy stock, which is all now just stock, and I'm going to sort through, and I'm going to see if I can get together a reasonable amount of things that I will pop onto eBay, and I'll let you know when I do that. Figured it out, because I can't work out how to combine postage, but if you're okay to pay the postage that eBay wants you to pay, so if you buy 3 items, it's going to charge you 3 lots of postage. And when I process and pack the order, I will refund the extra postage. I've done it for two orders that paid double postage. I've refunded it. I can do that very, very easily. There is a button on a refund to combine postage, and it's easy. Why it doesn't let us do it before we pay for it, I don't know. Anyway, that's one of the little quirky things we're dealing with right now. So if you do buy more than one thing from me and you're happy to pay it, knowing that I'll refund it, because I will, when I process and pack the order, that's when I'll do the refund. So either do it and send me a little message saying postage is doubled up. I will, even if you don't, I'll fix it. Okay, worked it out. It's fine. So, or if you can't pay it, knowing I'm going to refund it, because there will be a period of 3 or 4 days where the money's not in your account before it comes back into before the extra goes back in. Message me and I'll put a special listing up. You can message me, you can just message me on eBay, like you can message on Etsy or Instagram, or you can go to the listing, and instead of like buying it, you can just like ask a question on that and say, look, I want this, this and this, can you sort it out? And then I'll put a listing up. So that's going forwards. For now it's working. We're not actually paying, the only fees I'm paying on eBay is an international selling fee, which is, compared to Etsy's 14%, it's like this. It's not very much at all. So I'm actually quite happy at the moment to list things on eBay and sell them that way. They've started filtering the money to me now. The only thing I would ask is if you have bought something from me and it has arrived, could you either mark it as arrived or leave me feedback for it, because then eBay will release the funds to me quicker. It's there in my account. I'm not worried I'm not going to get the money. It's just they're releasing it to me, you know, available to withdraw kind of thing, very, very slowly, because I just haven't sold on eBay for a long, long time, like 6 years. My quick video is 40 minutes long. As usual, my video are never quick, but I showed you all the sewing first. This is what I'm going to try and do, is show you all my stitching first and then go into the ramble. And then if I've got other things to show you, I'll try and do that at the back end of the Flosstube to try and keep it a little bit more concise. If something amazing's happened and it pours out, it pours out. You just have to fast forward through me if you don't want to listen to it. Right, guys, I'm going to go and get my very few pictures inserted, get this sorting out, and I'm going to go and sew in my threads on my Better to See You With. We can put Barbara Anna away now because I've shown you her. Pop her in that box for now. She'll find her way. She'll find her way into my finishes. Right, I'll see you next week. I'm going to aim for every 7 days. So it's the 8th today. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So possibly the 15th, I'll have my next piece of my cross stitch studio by then. So possibly the 15th. I'm gonna try so that I've got figures for 7 full days for you. Right, guys, I will see you very soon. And yeah, if you're waiting for a Flossmas gift, I'm definitely gonna get them into the post this week. That's on my list to do this week. So this week for those, and probably Friday. So if you're in the UK, look out for it around Saturday, Monday at the latest. So we should all get our little bits and bobs out, and then the internationals take 5, 7, goodness knows how long. the last outstanding Flossmas box, which was being held hostage by Canada Post, arrived this week, and I'm so pleased it's finally got there, because you know when you do something and you send it and it's out as soon as I have got the proof of postage in my hand, it's out of my hands. We have to rely on Royal Mail to get it to here, and then for the country of destination to collect it and do the next part. It's between the two places, it's out of our hands. So I'm so pleased it got there finally. Oh dear. It was the last one to get there. So that took its time, but not technically anybody's fault but Canada Post, I think. Right, guys, I will see you in 7 more days, and hopefully I'll have about the same amount of stitching again to show you, and very hopefully a finish. That would be good, wouldn't it? And I'm thinking I possibly might have met my goal on maybe the CB can. She's the easiest to take with me to work, because I can do block stitching, or I can just take 2 colours. As long as I take the project bag and a needle. One time I've gone to work without a needle, which was very frustrating. And the next time I went to my mum's, and I had like half an hour time to sit down and have a chat. And I took a needle and my project, and I did not take the project bag, so I had no thread. And I didn't stop and buy another skein of 939 because I have lots. I was very good, because I realised before I got there that I didn't have thread. And I drove past Hobbycraft and I didn't stop, so I did very well. Anyway, I'm going to be very mindful of my spending, and I'm going to do lots of stitching, because I've got everything ready. My basket is back. My basket is all packed back up to go back into the living room. I'm going to turn the radiator off and go and get warm. I will see you next week. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye-bye. Oh, one other thing. The whip parade is still being watched. I'm still getting 3 or 4 comments every day. So I'm going to draw for the project bag that I'm giving away, that goes along with my whip parade. So if you're watching me and you haven't watched all the way to the end of my whip parade, go and watch to the end of my whip parade. Leave me a comment, and I'll draw that next Flosstube. That's the only thing I think I've forgotten to say. Right, I will see you next week. Bye bye.